Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is episode 443. Let me first send a special shout out to everybody who's been tuning in on the replays, my replay gang. Shout out to you all. Also, shout out to everybody who's been tuning in live. I know the times have been a little bit fluctuating, so just bear with me. Definitely make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube in order to get the notifications. And anybody who has been sharing the broadcast as well as commenting and liking the broadcast, definitely appreciate you guys as always. Also, be sure to click the link in the description box if you would like to support the show by way of donation, by way of visiting the online store. And you can visit the same link if you are interested in one on one coaching virtually in the realms of mental health, life purpose, dating and relationships, and physical health. If you do have any need or interest of upgrading, of reaching peak level in any of those categories or all of those categories, definitely be sure to make contact with me. Shout out to you, Dawn. I see you in the building. What's going on? Good to see you. So, uh, today we're talking about eliminating triggers and the importance of swift elimination and distancing and detaching from triggers. This is important across the board, but especially in the realm of dating and relationships. The reason I say that is because for some reason, the people that we date, the people that we used to date, the people we are romantically involved with, they have a fast track to our hearts, minds, and emotions. They have the innate ability to disrupt our flow, disrupt our emotions, disrupt our mental state and moods, depending on what they do or what they don't do, their actions or their inactions, their fluctuating behaviors, their inconsistency, their communication or lack thereof, depending on what the circumstance is. And we have to understand it is impossible for us to move forward. Is an impossible task for us to ascend and to grow if we do not tend to the garden, if we do not ensure that we are ridding ourselves of pests, parasites, and triggering individuals. This goes for romantic interest. This goes for old romantic interest. This goes for friendships, acquaintances, anything of the sort. If you have a way of controlling their access to you, then you need to utilize those controls and do so swiftly and do so firmly and consistently. There is no point in being on a healing journey and allowing someone to cut those stitches before they have healed up. This is a ongoing process. This is not a situation where you can afford to allow somebody to reopen wounds when they are fresh. You are in a fragile state. When you are healing in any sense of the word, you are in a fragile state, meaning that you are susceptible to energies. You are susceptible to other people's drama, their confusion, their fear, their insecurities. And in most cases, they will project this onto you in one way or the other, especially if you have some sort of intimate connection with that person, if you have a past with that person, if you have a child with that person, if there's some anchoring sentiment, something tying you to them. A lot of times we feel obligated to have to interact with them. And depending on who this person is to you and what their personality type is, they may be exploiting your weakness to cut them off. They may be exploiting the fact that you feel tied to them, you feel beholden to them, and you give them power. And so they pretty much are able to do whatever they want to do, and you have to deal with the emotional toll. You have to deal with the emotional blowback. You have to deal with the emotional aftermath. And that is one-sided. You're allowing a perpetrator to victimize you in a situation where you have the power to detach. You have the power to create separations, to create borders, to create, standards, boundaries, and enforce those. Now, sometimes there can be a fear when it comes to this. What's going to happen if I cut this person off? What's going to be said about me? What's going to happen, on the other side of this? Will I find another person? And all of these different thoughts can come to mind, especially if you are not used to enforcing and creating your own boundaries. A lot of times we can get in the habit of allowing for other people to have the responsibility of setting the boundary and the agenda. That can't be the case. Can't be the case anymore, because that person will create or not create whatever boundary suits them and their emotional voids and their particular agenda. So you don't want to be connected to somebody else's construction of what your life should look like, because in the end, you will always be on the losing end of somebody else's prescription for your life. It's your life. So you are the person who sets the standards, and you're the person who enforces them. There may be some people who you cut off and they do nothing about it. That's a blessing. You may have people who you try to cut off and create distance, and they're not trying to hear it, or they try to undermine it. That's good as well. Why? Because this will give you practice, not only creating the boundary, communicating the boundary, but enforcing the boundary. This is a quality and a pattern of action that you will have to have this entire journey. This isn't a one-off. You will have to be equipped and be capable of protecting your energy for any threats. This isn't just for the ex or the longtime friend who betrayed you. This is going to have to be enforced long term for any threatening person or anybody who potentially you could meet, and they could be damaging to your life. So you're going to have to get used to it and create a scenario where you have repetitions. If that's what's necessary, that's good too. Extra reps, that's a beautiful thing, because you have to get used to this process. You have to create a second nature about it, so that there's no thought involved. You want to get to the point where potential threats get neutralized before they start affecting your heart, before they take over your mind, before they get a chance to just incubate within your energy field. You want to be able to identify and take care of those threats immediately, faster, more efficiently, and based on your intuition and ability to read energy, as opposed to listening to emotional voids and emotional reasoning based on previous trauma or difficult situations at their origin. So, this is my reminder that it's time to begin, if not continue, to purge your energy space of triggers. I think sometimes we get into the mindset that triggers are just a part of life. People are going to trigger us, and we have to just constantly respond to being prodded with the electric shock from somebody, whether treating you bad verbally, physically, somebody tapping into your guilt complex, shame, insecurity, anxiety, right? Provoking all of these negative emotions within you. They don't have a right to continue to do that. And a lot of times we get caught up in, well, they need to change. Why don't they see it my way? Why are they keep it? It's not even about why. I can tell you why. I can always help you with the analysis part, but that's really not your job. Your job isn't to completely understand someone else's reasoning or somebody else's behavior patterns and the origins and And because a lot of times they don't even know. A lot of times the people who trigger you most, they don't have the insight to tell you why they're doing what they're doing. And even if they did, they're triggering you because there's a level of defenses that are keeping them acting a certain way in the first place. So a lot of times you won't get the accountability you're looking for, you won't get the insight you're looking for, and you won't get the change you're looking for, and you won't get the closure you're looking for. So now it's on you. You have to prescribe for yourself how you want your life to go, what triggers you want to eliminate, what things are making your life worse, what things are dragging your moods down, what things are shaking you up when you're trying to be able to focus on the next stages of your life, what things, people, places are reopening wounds you're trying to seal up and trying to heal over. Identify them and create a plan to not only create the boundary and the border, communicate it if necessary, and remain consistent, leaving no loopholes. This is not optional. The reason I say that is because healing cannot occur, even physically, if you keep reopening the wound or allowing someone else to do so. This is just 100% fact, and I urge you to create the space to do this now, because anybody who's listening, I know there's somebody in your mindset now that either is continuing to trigger you to this day that you're keeping around or allowing access to, or somebody in the past who used to have this effect on you. But we all can visualize at least one person who had a triggering effect on us, and how negative that was, how influential that was, and how debilitating it can be depending on the connection that you have with them and they have with you, and just how toxic it can actually be. So I leave you with this. Now, I sincerely hope that you guys take the time to examine the landscape and, view it like anything else. If you keep parking on a certain street and you keep having damage to your car every time you park there, or your car gets broken into on a certain street, or birds keep going on top of your windshield on a certain street or under a certain tree or in a certain type of area. In that respect, the next move is clearly and logically a no-brainer to move out of that space, to change your proximity to what's damaging, what's causing the damage, and get to a safer space where you're not inundated with a threat or a trigger coming from the outside. Now, a lot of you can't see yourself outside of your connection with certain people. And that's where the building comes in, and that's where the counteraction of fear comes in. You won't know what you're capable of. You won't know how happy you can get without this person until you start being happy without this person. You'll never know you can fly until you hop off of that roof, and again, this is an incremental thing, but it's imperative and it's important, and you have what it takes to be able to do so. You're all capable. We were all born alone. My even twins, they weren't born at the same time. So it's kind of like you were created as an individual. You were created as a unique individual with capabilities, with potential, with power, and with purpose. And all of these things cannot be fully realized if we anchor and connect ourselves and chain ourselves to triggering places, people, and the like. So keep this in mind. And again, definitely feel free to reach out to me. Click the link in the bio if you want to connect with me, if you want any assistance or help and support in working through some of the fears that keep us connected to people who continue to trigger us, and being stuck in those types of cycles. It's definitely something that I enjoy, helping people to detach from that process and empower yourselves. So thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate you in the comments, Dawn. Thank you a lot for that. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in with me. Keep this in mind. Keep this in heavy rotation, and you will see that the freedom, the manifestation, the lifestyle is all on the other side of fear. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive. Stay blessed, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow.